الحمد لله الذي هدانا لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله. الحمد لله على نعمة الإسلام وكفى بها نعمة. الحمد لله على منة الولاية وكفى بها منا. وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له. وأشهد أن سيدنا وعظيمنا وحبيب قلوبنا النبي المؤيد والرسول المسدد والمصطفى الأمجد والمحمود الأحمد حبيب إله العالمين أبي القاسم محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. صلوات الله وسلامه عليه وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين سفن النجاة الأعلام، من ركب سفينتهم نجا ومن تخلف عنها هلك وغرق. ثم أما بعد, respected scholars, brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum jami'an wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I want to continue from where I left from 2 days ago, because we were interrupted by Laylatul Qadr and we had to speak about the virtues of Laylatul Qadr. But I want to go back to the question of the 7 veils that obstruct our ability to connect with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala through our conscious. To awaken our conscious, we must therefore take away all the veils of that pure energy that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has placed within us. The energy that Allah with His infinite wisdom has placed in us is in the following particular surah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah 30 verse 30, the following ayah, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. فَأَقِمْ وَجْهَكَ لِلدِّينِ حَنِيفًا فِطْرَةَ اللَّهِ الَّتِي فَطَرَ النَّاسَ عَلَيْهَا لا تبديل لخلق الله ذلك الدين القيم ولكن أكثر الناس لا يعلمون. What is the translation of this verse? Listen to the words. Allah says, so direct your face. It is as if Allah is speaking to who? To the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. When Allah says فَأَقِمْ وَجْهَكَ يعني فَأَقِمْ وَجْهَكَ يا محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. So Allah is saying, so direct your face, O Muhammad, towards the religion. What religion is that? Allah continues. The religion inclining to the truth, meaning adhering to the fitrah of Allah. What is that fitrah? What is the meaning of fitrah in Arabic? The meaning of fitrah in Arabic is as such, the innate and inborn belief in Allah. What does that mean? It means each and every one of us is born with belief in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is the one who said this. He said, كُلُّ مَوْلُودٍ يُولَدُ عَلَى الْفِطْرَةِ. Each and every child is born with an innate, inborn trait in the belief of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as being the one God. Why? Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in the Quran that we have taken from the son of Adam their covenant when we created them in the realm of spirit. Allah says, أَلَسْتُ بِرَبِّكُمْ قَالُوا بَلَى. Am I not your Lord? Everyone, each and everyone testified what? Testified to the belief in Allah, and they said yes. Then Allah turned the malaika and said, فَاشْهَدُوا. Bear witness, bear testimony. وَأَنَا مَعَكُمْ مَعَ الشَّاهِدِينَ. And I am among the witnesses as well with you, that you have already submitted to the belief in one God. Now someone may come and argue, but I don't remember that face. You don't have to, because there are phases in life that you don't remember. For example, when you were an infant child in the womb of your mother, you don't say, I was not in the womb of my mother because I don't remember that phase, right? You cannot negate it. It's a stage of creation, right? You cannot negate it. Logically, you cannot negate it, though you cannot remember it. In such is the matter that we have been created before we were joined in our body. In the realm of spirit, Allah created us. That's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the dua, in the Quran, what do we say? قَالُوا رَبَّنَا أَحْيَيْتَنَا اثْنَتَيْنِ وَأَمَتَّنَا اثْنَتَيْنِ. Oh Allah, you made us live twice. How? We only lived once. No, you were living before you came into this earth when you were in the realm of spirit. So in the dua we say, oh Allah, you gave us life twice. The life before joining the body and the life after joining the body. Look what Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam says in that regard. He says, however, when each and every child is born with an innate inborn nature in the belief of Allah, right? This is, leave them. Leave her. It's good to hear the cries of babies in the mattress, because that way they learn, you know? It's very good, because it's very nice noise. Alhamdulillah. صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. Then the Prophet says what? He says, but this goes towards a very important issue in regard to the way we lead our life. He says, but it is up to the parents that they either turn their child into a Christian, a Jew, or a Magian. وأبواه إما أن ينصرانه أو يهودانه أو يمجسانه. Meaning what? Meaning the home environment and the outer environment that shapes the way we think. And that's how sometimes we lose our aqidah, or we lose our faith, or we change our faith. However, if you undust these particular changes, you will still find that belief in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the very bottom chambers of your heart, because Allah's promise will never change. He says, this is how I created mankind, with that innate inborn nature. Nothing will change it. سُنَّةُ اللَّهِ فِي الَّذِينَ خَلَوْا مِنْ قَبْلِ وَلَنْ تَجِدَ لِسُنَّةِ اللَّهِ تَبْدِيلًا. In one instance, وَلَنْ تَجِدَ لِسُنَّةِ اللَّهِ تَحْوِيلًا. Right? This is the law of Allah that will never change. Allah has set that law in place, and it will never change. So adhere to the fitrah of Allah, the innate and inborn belief in God, oneness and greatness, upon which He has created all people. No change should there be in the creation of Allah. There is a good point here I need to refer your attention to it. You know, some people, when they look at how people are doing things today, they think the change in the creation of Allah is a physical change. It's not. It's not only physical change. And for example, people argue, cosmetic surgery is playing with Allah creation. Tattoos is playing with Allah creation. Why? Because Allah says that you will not find a way to change God's creation. Allah is not talking about that only. Allah is talking about your aqidah, your faith. No change should there be in the creation of Allah, not the physical, but the belief. There should be no deviation from the belief which God created in your heart and mind. That's what we should hold to and train our children to hold to. Their faith in a very progressive, intelligent way. We cannot teach religion in a way that does not appeal to our children. Why? Because they are being challenged every day in colleges, in schools, in the streets, in the communities they live in. And if we present Islam to them in a way that is traditional, right? And in a way that does not give rise to them above the challenges that they face, then the first thing they will give up on is their faith. Because they feel that their faith is making no sense to them. So why should they keep a faith that does not make sense to them? No, we need to give them a faith that when they are challenged, they are able to rebut the challenge. Right? They are able to stand firm and argue against the most intelligent and the most, well-versed atheist when it comes to the question of aqidah of tawheed. How do you prove the aqidah of tawheed? Just a small example. Someone came to me and we wanted to do a conference about proving the existence of God. I said, I'll agree, but change the name. They said, change the name to what? I said, Habibi, Bana, Jam, I don't have a problem with believing in God. You are the one who's having a problem, right? He said, yes. He said, then logically, you should name the conference, let's prove the non-existence of God. Right? I don't have a problem with the existence of God. You are the one who was having that problem. So you need to prove to me the non-existence. He said, that doesn't make sense. I said, of course it makes sense. That's what makes sense, in fact, because you are the one who's negating his existence, not me. So you need to prove to me his non-existence, and then I'll prove to you his existence. Don't buckle, Don't buckle when someone puts such a question ahead of you, or someone comes and challenges you about the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Be bold enough to stand on your feet and argue your case based on your intellectual ability, to decipher the laws of Islam and to understand the laws of Islam. By the way, this is not only the duty of that mashayikh and sayyids. This is your faith. This is your Islam. You need to have the confidence to know how to defend your faith when you are being challenged. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, no change should there be in the creation of Allah. That is the correct faith. But most people do not know. The correct faith is what? The correct faith is to believe in the oneness of Allah. Because it makes sense. Roger Garudi, I don't know if Sheikh mentioned the story in full about Imam Ali, but it's very interesting. A student of his came to him and she asked him, why do you speak too much about Ali ibn Abi Talib? He says, I'll tell you. He says, if someone was hit by a bus and his head was split open, what do you think will happen to that man? She said, he'll be in a coma. If a bus hit you, your head is split in half. Would you be able to speak? She said, no. So would you be able to think? She said, no. He said, most likely you would be in a coma. She said, yes. He said, well, there is a man called Ali ibn Abi Talib, was struck with a sword, so much so that the whiteness of his brain appeared. Yet he gave one of the most eloquent wasiyah to his children, so much so that if you read it until now, it constitutes a law. It constitutes a law. This person, Ali ibn Abi Talib, look at the point he wants it. He said the reason why he was able to be so articulate is because he believed in God. Because Roger Gamudi was a socialist, then he became a Muslim, you know? He became a Muslim, he confessed because he read without prejudice. And you know, our biggest problem is when we read with prejudice. Even when we read about our own school of thought, we read with prejudice. No, when we need to understand Islam, we need to read without prejudice, right? So that we can encompass the law of Allah and the teachings of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in a way that is comprehensive. So what are these veils? I said last time, the first veil that shuns away our consciousness from Allah and does not allow us to connect with Allah is desires. Look what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, chapter 38, verse 26. Ya Dawood, Allah is speaking now to who? David. Okay, Prophet David. Inna ja'alnaka khalifa. We made you what? A vicegerent. Vicegerent, Khalifatullah. You know, we made you a khalifa, a vicegerent. In the earth. To do what? What is the first criteria for you to be a vicegerent on earth? فَحْكُمْ بَيْنَ النَّاسِ بِالْحَقِّ. So that you can arbitrate and judge between people with the truth. Don't be swayed by your own interests. Don't be swayed by your own prejudices. You know, don't be like someone, you know, Imam Ali says, people are of two kinds, either your brother in faith or you're equal in humanity, you know, and then Allah gives us an amazing discourse about the giving of Ahlul Bayt, right? In Surah Insan. ويطعمون الطعام على حبه مسكينا ويتيما وأسيرا إنما نطعمكم لوجه الله لا نريد منكم جزاء ولا شكور. Allah says about Ahlul Bayt that they feed, listen to the words, because we don't listen sometimes, unfortunately, and that's why we become discriminatory against other cultures and against other religions. Allah says they feed for the sake of who? Of Allah. Miskinan, what is a miskin? Poor person. وَيَتِيمًا, orphan. So far, miskin, yatim in Medina are what? Hindus? Muslims. Thank you. Here comes the bombshell. وَأَسِيرًا. Asira means prisoner of war. يعني non-Muslim. Huh? Ajib. So Ahlul Bayt stay without food for a non-Muslim? Allahu Akbar. We know the riwayah, right? They stayed without food for a non-Muslim. They were fasting. So when you give, don't give because he shares the same religion. Give because giving in itself is a virtue. Giving in itself is a virtue. That's why and how we should relate to people in that regard. Because Ahlul Bayt taught us, it's not me. If Ahlul Bayt can give their food away to a non-Muslim in the month of Ramadan, then who am I then to speak otherwise? Right? Who am I to give preference to one community over another community? See, if Islam was taught in that way, like Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq, salawatullahi salamu alayhi. Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq has a beautiful statement. He says, please learn our affairs and then practice it. Why? Why? He says, because when people see you practicing our teachings, they will say, هذا جعفري. Allah Akbar. Listen, very, very profound hadith. Said, فَيَقُولُونَ هَذَا جَعْفَرِي. They say, this is a Ja'fari, meaning he's a follower of Ja'far al-Sadiq. Look what Imam Ja'far says, فَيَسُرُّنِي ذَلِكَ. This makes me happy because then you are drawing the hearts of people towards us through your action. But there is a flip side. He said, but if you do not learn our affairs and you don't put it into practice, and then people say, this is, or these are the students or the followers of Ja'far, that will bring dishearten to my heart. That will affect me. And then I will declare before Allah, they are not my followers. Imam Ja'far said, they are not my followers. I've got nothing to do with them. Either you comply with the teachings of Ahlul Bayt and you present it in that way, or don't associate yourself with them. That's exactly what Imam As-Sadiq salawatullahi wa salam alayhi said. Ya Dawood, O Dawood, we have made you a vicegerent. So arbitrate between people with the truth. Wala, look at the word, desires. Wala tattabi' al-hawa. And do not follow vain desires. Right? Do not follow temptations. And I said 2 days ago, not all temptations fall under desires. There are desires that are legit, right? There are desires that are legit. Loving one's wife is a legitimate desire, right? Having affection towards your children is a legitimate desire. حُبِّبَ لِلنَّاسِ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, it has been made to people to love. الشهوات, desires. He mentioned desires. Which desires? من النساء, from the women, the cattle and the children. But he says Allah is referring to these three in the halal way, not in the haram way. In the halal way. Cattle's for raising and eating only. Okay, just to make things clear. Right? Cattle's as in just to eat and consume and trade with, nothing else. Right? So in that portfolio, in that parameters, Allah says these are legitimate desires. But do not follow anything outside the parameters of illegal desires, where now you are encroaching on the laws of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or stepping on the laws of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَلَا تَتَّبِعِ الْهَوَى. Do not follow illegal desires. فَيَضُلُّكَ عَنْ سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ. Why? Because then these temptations and desires will take you away from the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. إِنَّ الَّذِينَ يَضِلُّونَ عَنْ سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ. Those who seek a path other than that of Allah, لَهُمْ عَذَابٌ شَدِيدٌ. They have severe punishment. Because they know and they what? Chose to deviate. بِمَا نَسُوا يَوْمَ الْحِسَابِ. They will have severe punishment because they forgot the day of judgment. Right? So, having read this ayah, there is another ayah. If you leave desires that are illegal, what are the consequences? There are immediate consequences, by the way. Allah says in the Quran, chapter 79, verse 40, وَأَمَّا مَنْ خَافَ مَقَامَ رَبِّهِ وَنَهَى النَّفْسَ عَنِ الْهَوَى. As for those, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but as for he or she who have the awe of the presence of Allah in their heart, they have the consciousness of the presence of Allah in their heart, and prevent position of the Lord, and prevented the soul from unlawful desires. وَأَمَّا مَنْ خَافَ مَقَامَ رَبِّهِ. Those who have consciousness of Allah and they prevent their souls from desires, what is their reward? فَإِنَّ الْجَنَّةَ هِيَ الْمَأْوَى. The only place for them is what? Is Jannah. Subhanallah. The minute you stop yourself from any falsehood, the automatic reward is what? Is Jannah. Straight away. Straight away. You know, there is no two ways about it. And look at the hadith by our Imam salawatullahi salam alayhi when it comes to the question of illegal desires and temptations. Imam Ali says, أوصيكم بمجانبة الهوى فإن الهوى يدعو إلى العمى. وَالْعِيَاذُ بِاللَّهِ. He says, I advise you to stay away from illegal desires because illegal desires will lead you to blindness. Allahu Akbar. You become blind by your desires. You tell someone to give up on their desires, they're so blinded that they can't. They can't because they don't have that consciousness of Allah anymore in their heart. وَهُوَ الضَّلَالُ فِي الْآخِرَةِ وَالدُّنْيَا. Imam Ali says, this is the misguidance in this world and in Akhirah. To follow what? Illegal desires. Imam Ali also said, إِنَّكَ إِنْ أَطَعْتَ هَوَاكَ أَصَمَّكَ وَأَعْمَاكَ وَأَفْسَدَ مُنْقَلَبَكَ وَأَرْدَاكَ. Imam Ali says, if you follow your desires, what will happen? You will become deaf. You don't hear advices anymore. Khalas, you are so in tune with haram that you can't see any view, any clear vision towards what is right. Asammaka makes you deaf, makes you blind, and corrupts your what? Your return to Allah. Your return to Allah becomes corrupt. Why? Because you have not paved the way for yourself. You have not paved the way for yourself. You know, there is one of our scholars, sheikh al-Ansari. Those who study Hausa, they know that this alim wrote a book called Al-Makasib. This is one of the most difficult books to study after Lum'a. It's so complicated, this book. It gives you really complexities, but you have to study it. All right. This man called Sheikh al-Ansari, they say that he is a product of what? They say he's a product of a very, very interesting union and marriage. It says one day a man was traveling near a river. He saw an apple flowing in the river. He was hungry, picked up the apple and ate it. After he ate it, he said, maybe this is haram. Maybe it belongs to a poor person, a yatim, I don't know, is it pot? He started tracing the waterway. Okay? So he chased the waterway until he got to an apple orchard. He knew that it must have come from where? From that. He entered the place. So he saw the man. He said, sir, I ate one of your apples, I think by mistake. I saw it flowing in the river, I ate it. So please, I'm here to ask for your forgiveness. He said, no, I won't forgive you until or unless you marry my daughter. Huh? He said, I don't know who your daughter is. He said, and he says, I'll tell you also about my daughter. He said, she's deaf, blind, and mute. She cannot speak, she cannot see, she cannot hear. What a disaster is it? You know? God damn that apple that came my way. I wish I never saw that apple. Deaf, blind, and mute.
The best.
The best, exactly. So he said, you know what? Look at his thinking, that man's thinking. He said, you know what? It's better to suffer in this world than to suffer in Akhirah. Allah. Be it. So he said, okay, I'll marry him. I'm too conscious of Allah. I can't risk it. He married him. He went into the house. On the day of marriage, he went to his wife. He entered the house. He saw the most beautiful woman you can ever imagine. And when she came, she said to her husband, Assalamu alaikum. Huh? She speaks. That means she can see, because she saw him. She said, Assalamu alaikum. And when he said, Wa alaikum salam, she said, Barakallahu laka fi ahlik. May Allah give blessing for you on account of your family. He said, he left the house, went back to his father-in-law. He said, did you marry me to the right daughter? He said, yes, I did give you the right daughter in marriage. He said, but she speaks, she sees, and she hears. He said, yes. So he said, how? He said, when I told you she doesn't hear, she never heard haram. And when I said she doesn't speak, she never spoke haram. And when I said she is blind, she never looked at haram. He said, then why did you marry her to me? He said, if you were afraid of an apple, you are worthy of that daughter. If you are worried about an apple, then you are worthy of that marriage. From that marriage came Sheikh al-Ansari. They said, from that marriage came that Sheikh. His mother says what? how did this man become so intelligent? She said, I never fed him except when I am in a state of wudu or tahara. Never I would feed him except if he... See, these are not wajibat, but these are things that make you conscious of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You know, they raise your level of consciousness so that they prevent you from falling into what? Into haram. We don't understand the severity of being in an environment that pulls you towards haram, because you will be dragged without realizing. You will be dragged without realizing. Now, Imam al-Sadiq says, because you know, I have 7 veils. I only have 7 nights left. So I have to cover 1 veil a night. So bear with me. Imam al-Sadiq says, how much time do I have left? 5 minutes? 5 minutes, right? 15? Okay. He says, احذروا أهواءكم. Allahu Akbar, Wallah. You know, I was speaking to the brothers just before we came to the lecture, you know, after at iftar. I said, you know, some people say, why do we love Ahlul Bayt so much? I say, you know what? Give me another set of a family that has their values and I'm willing to follow them. But find me someone. Find me someone that can speak as eloquent as they are. Find me a family that in 255 years, which is the life of the 12 Imams, from Imam Ali to Imam al-Mahdi, how many years? 255 years, right? 255. In 255 years, history could not record one fault about them. Is it possible? Then, logically, 255 years, neither their enemies nor their supporters could find one fault about them. Is this a family worthy of being followed or not? It's by default, right? It's by default, because why? There is something we say in order to prove whether something is logical or not logical. We say in Arabic, for those who speak Arabic, حدث العاقل بما لا يليق له فإن لاق له فلا عقل له. Right? What does that mean? Speak to someone who claims to be sane about something that is insane. If he thinks what you said is sane, then he is what? Insane. Then he is insane, because you're telling him something that is insane, yet he is saying it is what? Or he thinks he is sane. So he is insane, right? But in that formula, 255 years, that not one single mistake was recorded against them, shows you the value of this family. That's why Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam emphasized and said, إِنِّي تَارِكٌ فِيكُمُ الثَّقَلَيْنِ مَا إِن تَمَسَّكْتُمْ بِهِ فَلَنْ تَضِلُّوا بَعْدِي أَبَدًا كِتَابُ اللَّهِ وَعِطْرَةِ أَهْلَ بَيْتِ. Right? I'm leaving the 2 weighty things behind. If you hold fast to them, you'll never be led astray. The book of God and my family. Because if we follow them, we will always be within the parameters of Islam. Ali ibn Abi Talib says, Wallah, if the affairs of the Muslims were given to me after Rasulullah, you would have lived in peace and you would have had your risk coming from above you and underground. That's how just Ali ibn Abi Talib said, your risk will come and it will shower you from above and it will rise from under the ground. But what can we do? Anyway, Imam al-Sadiq says, احذروا أهواءكم, be conscious and aware of your desires in as much as you are aware of your enemies. How much you protect yourself against your enemy? Imam al-Sadiq says, protect yourself against your illegal desires. فَلَيْسَ شَيْءٌ أَعْدَى لِلرِّجَالِ مِنْ اتِّبَاعِ أَهْوَائِهِمْ. Because there is nothing worse for humans than following their own vain desires. And then he adds something too. He said, and the collections of their speech. Yani what they utter. Imam Ali, you know, has a beautiful statement. He says what? He says, I respect a person for as long as he remains silent. The minute he speaks, I know whether he's intelligent or he's a fool. Once you open that mouth and you start blabbing, you know, and you start saying things that make no sense, Amir Mu'minin says what? Now I know if he's intelligent or he's a fool. So Imam Ali says to Imam al-Hasan, Allah, Imam al-Hasan ma'soom. But of course he's speaking to us. He said, Ya bunay, كن أحرص على السمع من الكلام. He says, Concern yourself with listening than speaking. Concern yourself with listening than speaking. Because if you listen, you learn. But if you speak, what are you doing? You're repeating already what you know. It's very interesting, huh? Listen to this. When you listen, you learn something new. But when you speak, you're repeating already what you know. So you're not adding anything. It's no value. You're not adding anything unless it is new information to someone that has not heard it before. Then Imam Ali says again, "Inna afdal al-nas 'inda Allah." The best of people in the sight of Allah is the one that revives his intellect and kills his illegal desire. Yani the one who always thinks and ponder and learns how to stimulate his mind positively, right? How to use his intelligence very positively, and then in the course of doing this, what is he doing? He's fighting against his illegal desires. وَأَتْعَبَ نَفْسَهُ بِصَلَاحِ آخِرَتِهِ. And he tires himself in what? In ensuring and fixing his akhirah. So he tires himself in what? In all the acts of mustahabbat and wajibat. But mustahabbat and wajibat, not only salah and so on. Reaching out to people is also mustahabbat. Helping others is mustahabbat. Inquiring about your neighbor is mustahabbat. Next of kin and keeping your relationship with your next of kin is mustahabbat. Appealing to the public where you live in is an act of charity. Smiling in the face of your brother or sister is also an act of charity. These are all mustahabbat, by the way. Listening to someone's grieving is mustahabbat. Fixing the problem between two fighting brothers or sisters is one of the best acts of worship. Do you know that? Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, you know what he said? He says, "Islahu datul bayn khayrun wa ahabbu ila Allah min 'ammati as-salati was-sawm." Allahu Akbar. Rasulullah says, to reconcile a problem between two brothers or two sisters in the eyes of Allah is better than all your general or voluntary fast and prayer. You know, you want to pray 1,000 rak'at, but you can't? Go and see if you know someone who's fighting with a brother and try to reconcile. It's worth more than the 1,000 prayer of salah. Because Rasulullah said, "Khayrun min 'ammat," all your salah and fasting. The general one, not the compulsory one, the extra one. Because when you fix the society when you fix the individual in the society, what happens to society? It progresses, it moves forward. Right? It becomes life and it goes towards its perfection. But if there is issues, hatred, animosity, problems, how is this community going to move forward? Impossible. It's not going to move forward. You know, I don't know if I mentioned this story to you. Someone came one day from outside Medina. Quickly, I will mention this. Outside Medina, he entered. Before he entered the mosque, Rasulullah says, "Hey guys," I'm saying this one. Rasulullah said, "Do you want to see someone from the people of Jannah? Look now." So everyone turned. You know, who is this guy? Rasulullah. If Rasulullah says the man who's coming now is from the people of Jannah, can you question this? He's from the people of Jannah or not? So the one who's relating the story, by the way, is Abdullah ibn Umar, the son of Umar ibn al-Khattab. He says, a man entered, no one knows him. No one. And we thought he's going to be one of those great companions. You know, no one knows him. So I said, what is this? How did this guy, we live with the Prophet day and night, he never says something like this about us. Who's this guy, banner of a guy, you know? He said, Wallah, I'm going to invite him home to see what does this guy do. Salatul Layl, Allahu Akbar, you know? God knows what he's doing. I invited him. You know, it's Islamic practice that when someone comes from abroad, you host him for 3 days. Don't cut my hotel vouchers, please. And I'll end up in the street, please. Okay, just extend it until I leave.
It was only 3 days. Right?
Was it? No, it's... Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. That's why we said sometimes it's better to remain silent than to give out information. So this man, Abdullah ibn Umar said, I went to him. He said, can I host you for 3 days? It's our Islamic etiquette. He said, Wallah, I don't have a place to stay. May Allah bless you, thank you. He said, I took him, cut the story. First night, he was snoring. I said, maybe he's tired from traveling. Give him the benefit of the doubt. Next night, I served him his dinner. Again, woo, he's gone until Fajr namaz. Third night, same. I said, what's wrong with this guy? What's so special about him that he went to Jannah? So he got hold of him. I got hold of him and said, listen, I didn't host you because I like you. I hosted you because I wanted to know, how did you get to Jannah? The guy said, what Jannah? He said, 3 days ago when you entered the mosque, they said, Rasulullah said you are from the people of Jannah. He said, really? He said that? He said, yes. He said, I don't know why. He said, I don't know why. He said, think! I want to know! So he said, wait. He said, I think I found it. He said, what is it? He said, I never go to sleep and I have hatred towards anyone. I never go to sleep and I have hatred against my community and brothers and sisters. He said, because of that you entered the paradise. Simple, simple. Characteristics, yeah, it's simple by word, but put it in action. It's the most difficult thing because we are inclined towards this. That's when we suppress our desires. Because hatred is a desire, but it's an illegal one. It's an illegal desire. So Imam Ali says, blessed is the one that is preoccupied with what? With fixing himself so he can reach akhirah safely. وَتَزَوَّدُوا فَإِنَّ خَيْرَ الزَّادِ التَّقْوَى. Take sustenance. For the best sustenance for the hereafter is not the Louis Vuittons, I promise you. And not the Versace's, I'll talk about myself. Right? The best sustenance is piety. Piety, that's what you will take with you. No brand names, no Visa cards, no American Express, nothing will work on the day of judgment. And the emphasis on that point, is that when we as a community realize the importance of introspective monitoring, that we judge ourselves and fix ourselves, because everything starts in the community and the society from the self, then the community itself becomes a better community. إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يُغَيِّرُ مَا بِقَوْمٍ حَتَّى يُغَيِّرُ مَا بِأَنفُسِهِمْ. Allah will not change the state of people until or unless they change themselves first. And by the way, change themselves first regardless whether it's good or bad. Yeah. If there is a community that is a good community, Allah will not change them to be bad unless they decide to, and vice versa. If there is a bad community or an evil community, Allah does not change them until they change themselves, because Allah is just an adl. He wants you to take that initiative and to move forward in life. With this I conclude. وآخر دعوانا الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين. Now, just to keep you in tune for tomorrow, the second veil that disconnects us from Allah, I'm not going to give the meaning of it. If you know the meaning, good. If you don't, wait until tomorrow. It's called gluttony. Gluttony is one of the veils between us and Allah, and I'll explain why tomorrow. May Allah bless you. Please, brothers and sisters, there are so many people who have asked us to do dua for them. If we can join hands together with the purest of hearts, with the sincerest of mind, let us read it 5 times, especially to our sister Jessa, Masuma Jessa, and all those who are suffering in one way or another. May Allah alleviate their tensions and problems. Our brothers in Yemen, Syria, Palestine, Pakistan, wherever they are, 5 times. Amman yujibul muhtar. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Amman yujibul muhtar idha da'a wa yakshifu as-su'. Louder. Amman yujibul muhtar idha da'a wa yakshifu as-su'. Amman yujibul المضطر إذا دعاه ويكشف السوء أمن يجيب المضطر إذا دعاه ويكشف السوء. Last time. أمن يجيب المضطر إذا دعاه ويكشف السوء. بحق محمد وآل محمد وبحرمة الفاتحة مع الصلوات. اللهم صل على محمد.